Why did you choose real estate in the first place?
I wanted to start an Instagram page because we were seeing a lot of, they say ignorance is bliss. It's not in real estate. Ignorance is definitely not bliss in real estate.
What made you put yourself there, make yourself personal brand?
When you are on social media, a so-called influencer, for instance, say somebody has 100,000 followers, you should look at them as 100,000 people in your distribution. What happens is your followers get nurtured with time. You're giving them so much content out there, organic content, believing in your ethics.
How do you balance this piece? Within professionalism, you seem to be your own realtor. People always spoke about cash flows, collections was their problems in real estate.
I would say finding supply in rentals, resale, and of course land, which is a resale technically, significantly more obscure.
Welcome to Realiti.Club podcast, where we dive deep into the journey of successful regional realtors from around the globe. I'm your host, Arun. We'll explore the inspiring stories, pivotal decisions, and remarkable qualities that have propelled our guests to success in the real estate industry. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, join us as we uncover valuable insights and lessons learned from those who have navigated the paths to greatness. This is Realiti.Club, where realtors come to share, inspire, and elevate. I'm very, very happy to have today Mr. Mayank Agarwal from Mumbai, Maharashtra. He's a social media phenomenon with 720,000 followers and a serial realty pruner, I would say. Right? He spreads real estate awareness through his social media channels and via his real estate specific learning platform, one of the first, I would say, in India, called EdState Learning. He has over 10 years experience in the industry, and also he's a founder of Cottage and Bregoland. Am I sounding it right, Mike? Bregoland,
Yes,
right?
that's correct. That's correct.
Okay. He's also a strategic advice and consultant for several major real estate developers and startups. I'm very, very happy to pick his mind, understand his journey, and very, very happy to have you, Mike.
Hi, Arun. Thank you for the lovely introduction. It's a pleasure to be here. And it was lovely meeting you again right now here after the NAR Goa event. And happy to, give my 2 cents to you guys.
Fantastic, fantastic, super. So, Mike, so our audience are predominantly would like to know where did you start? Why did you choose real estate in the first place? Right. So that's our quick first understanding. We would like to know.
So I'm an engineer, not by profession, but yes, by degree I'm an engineer. And I graduated in 2012. I'd done electronics and communication, major in satellite broadcasting. Obviously, didn't want to get into the core competency and get into the IT role, the normal rat race. So I got back to Bombay, and I was actually in a door-to-door sales job, which was extremely humbling. Door-to-door job is, I would say, a bottom of the pit in terms of how people look at you and how you're perceived by the society. And
Which industry was it?
so we used to do door-to-door for a charitable organization known as CRY, Child Rights and You, right?
Okay.
And we were the platform was called APCO, where they would do various clients they would have. They'll, either charitable organizations or insurance companies, credit cards. The product kept changing, but our approach was the same, the door-to-door approach, right?
Yeah.
And of course, extremely humbling. So I grinded there, I would say, for 6 months. And I think I'm glad I did it for 6 months because, then something like a real estate brokerage that till date is looked down upon, surprisingly, was, at least it was very respectable in my eyes, having come from a door-to-door background.
Okay. No, like, who introduced real estate that time? Because with that aspect of cry and things, I'm sure What, from where did the real estate?
Very random, extremely random. So I had one of my family friends wanted to buy land in Karjat. It's a holiday
Okay.
home. It's a small village on the outskirts of Mumbai, and I went there with my family friend on a Sunday. I just left APCO, my daughter company, and I was just figuring out life. So a family friend said, "Great way to spend a Sunday. Come, let's go on the outskirts, consider it as a picnic." So I went with him, and I was quite enamored with the way that broker portrayed the land, the way he knew all the regulatory details behind that land, right? A true professional. And I was just and I'm a very outdoorsy person. I don't like sitting in my AC cabin, and I think every realtor can say the same thing. None of
Mhm.
us are meant for
Yeah.
the AC cabin. um, so I think it was great that I could go outdoors in see farmland and try to make money with that. So we got into land in ending of 2012, beginning of 2013 types. I was freelancing at that point of time, and then I even worked with a company in 2014 for a couple of months. But we were predominantly doing a lot of land deals since 2013. Um, and we did that. We were still doing land as our forte, but with that we started primary as well in 2015 to 16. I would say early 16. I think January 2016 we started primary as well. We started diverting all our land investors into primary markets. And yeah, so currently we're doing, we obviously are doing land, we're doing primary and education as well. And we are currently doing obviously media in terms of social media marketing.
Absolutely. No, very curious to know something from you is that, okay, you chose real estate for the money making aspect and the flavor of outdoor and all those things. But why, what made you do that educational platform? Because it's very, I mean, I don't think it's real estate specific, right? I mean, training people, putting into a virtual classroom, making sure that whatever you've learned, you could pass it on to the next or the new
Yeah,
generation, right?
yeah.
So,
So
what
I
what
feel
drove
it's
that?
a very good question. Real estate is, or at least used to be, and in fact, even now, there is no entry barrier to becoming a broker. You will find people becoming brokers, channel partners, who don't even know the basics, the very basics of a real estate transaction. And mind you, real estate is the most expensive asset class an individual will ever purchase in his life. And to see such poor quality of, in general, whether it's a sales personnel, they're very very uninformed, right? And a lot of times it's mismanagement and innocence, where you just don't know the answer to your client's queries, and you misrepresent out of innocence, which turns out for the client will think, oh, I've been scammed by this channel partner, or this broker scammed me, he told me this. But in reality, I realized that none of these, a lot of people who are in this, who are in client facing, didn't know the very basics of a transaction, and they would just make things up, just to cover their lack of skill or lack of information, and just portray something to the client which is not true at all. And then the client would obviously invest, and then after 3 years the sales manager's not even in the company, forget the company,
Mm.
is probably not in real estate.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
the poor builder has to face the ramifications, you know because very rarely will you see a builder actually talk to a client. Builders don't, right? They're sales people or a channel partner who gets the clients. So I think we as channel partners have the biggest responsibility of representing a particular deal in the most transparent way to the client.
Okay.
I think this
So
was
that
lack.
it, so in that edtech platform, what happens? Like you, an individual who would like to, I mean, what does it do for a person who's away from industry or in the industry, whatever may be it, right? What does
Right.
it solve? How is it
So see,
fitting?
typically real estate contains everything, right? We've seen people think real estate's only about civil engineering, but civil engineering would only constitute to probably 10% of the industry, right? There's civil engineering, there's architecture design, there's interior designing, there is real estate marketing, sales, brokerage, law. Law is a major part of our course. Real estate laws, real estate regulations. Uh, you know. Talk about the state's development control regulations, facility management, maintenance. Very important is accounting, the correct accounting practices in real estate, GST, accounting, then income tax, valuation. In our it's a flagship program that we made. It's a 1 year flagship program. It's a 180-hour plus program where we teach all facets of real estate. In fact, even
Mhm.
including construction finance. So
Okay.
once a person knows, from civil to architecture to, uh, finance, law, legal, everything, and sales and marketing as well. So we want him to gain the right information first to give the right information back to the client. And we felt this was a real gap in the industry. And,
I completely agree, Mike, because in the West, which is, I mean, at least the US, what most of the so-called brokerage firms, which we all know, right from Keller Williams, Century 21, the Remax of the world, have invariably have done this, right? Which means even though they could franchise their brand, license it out, and there are other tools like MLS, IDX, XYZ, but the point is that basic education, right? The basic learning curve for aspiring realtor was a game changer in the West. Probably, I would say, 10, 15 years back. And with RERA coming in here, I see this is definitely a very, very important factor, what you're trying to do. And probably you need to, I do not know, it's 1 year, I understand, but you have aspects of somebody getting some sort of shorter formats also. Are you thinking in those lines?
yes, we are. Currently, we don't have any short form courses, but we are as soon as next month. So,
Oh, nice.
person who just wants to understand civil, we only going to give him civil. Person who just wants to learn about laws, we'll only give him real estate laws, so on and so forth.
Because what you spoke, each one was a business by itself, right? Civil
Yes.
engineering is vertical, and yeah. So this is one fantastic aspect which I wanted to understand. That is one perspective, and second is on your own self, right? You have started putting yourself out there as a brand, right? What made you decide that, right? Was it purely because of necessity, or because you could have taken your company's brand, you could have marketed that, you could have had somebody, but what made you put yourself there and make yourself personal brand, right? Is it a conscious call, or it was just happened by the flow?
Honestly, happened by chance. I wanted to start an Instagram page because we were seeing a lot of, they say ignorance is bliss. But let me tell you, it's not in real estate. Ignorance is definitely not bliss in real estate. If you, out of ignorance, purchase a 3 crore property only to face,
Got
yeah.
it.
So, we came across a lot of mis-selling. When you're in the industry, you see mis-selling happening innocently, not on purpose, but it's still happening throughout the industry. And I just wanted to spread awareness. Nobody starts social media thinking they'll become influencers. I don't even think that term existed when we started that. We were just making one video at a time, and it just happened.
When did you start, by the way?
This was in 2021.
21.
So it's not, it's about 2.5 years.
Okay. Okay. Understood. Nice.
Two and a
Nice.
half
Okay.
years. Yeah. And then, a couple of videos started doing well. Also because I think accidentally, we didn't even know what we like. Accidentally, it so happened that we were the first ones who started posting educational content on real estate.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely right. See, that's why I was very curious. I've been following you for at least some time now. right? And then I did meet you at NAR, and then today this happened. But somewhere one thing which is very curious for me is that out of my, at least my own understanding, I'm saying is that somebody to pitch something as educational or at a framework level, right? I'm sure that person has something very fundamentally. He's thinking of something at a larger scale, right? If he's that's my belief, right? So,
Right, right,
what
of course.
I somehow feel that for you to think an edtech for a real estate, need to have some sort of a vision, right?
Right.
Uh, because that's not an ad hoc decision. I'm very sure about it. I'm
Instagram
not
was,
about to make my mind.
you're absolutely correct. So Instagram was, so we wanted to start an edtech platform and we wanted to test the market. And that's why we started this channel where we started imparting knowledge, right? And think of this as when you are on social media as a so-called influencer. For instance, say somebody has 100,000 followers, you should look at them as 100,000 people in your distribution,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
What that does is it reduces the customer acquisition cost. And the only way to do it in the most effective manner is being out there on social media. Right? Today, any company you name, any edtech, the biggest expense for an edtech is customer acquisition cost. But what happens is your followers get nurtured with time. You're giving them so much content out there, organic content, and they start sort of believing in you, your ethics. And then so for instance, right now, all we've not done any marketing for my tech platform. We've got about a decent number of students, I would say, and all have come just through Instagram stories. Obviously, now we plan to push the pedal on the our marketing uh, you know efforts this month. But
Just out of curiosity, who are the profiles who are coming in attending your courses? Like, are they
yeah,
educated class freshers out of college, or like who is the
it's a
profile
mixed
actually?
bag. I would say a lot of builders kids are joining, because obviously as a builder you need to know everything, right? uh, some brokers are joining, some channel partners, a lot of students who have just graduated out of civil engineering degrees are joining. A lot of people who've just graduated as architects are joining, because they want to be in real estate because they've done architecture and civil engineering, but they don't know what to do because it's so vast.
Yeah, yeah, it's massive. Yeah. Mm.
Massive. I mean,
No,
you could be
that's
a
not
project
surprising
manager,
for me.
you could be a broker, to an like it's just so many profiles within real estate. It's a very vague term.
Absolutely. No, when you said builders next generation, that's something which really, I mean, surprised me anyway. But that's the fact, right? So fantastic. Okay, so let's quickly start moving towards one more thing, which is how do you balance this piece, which is within professionalism, you seem to be your own realtor, right? On one side, on the other side, you're also running uh, which is relatively futuristic, I would say, which the market is yet to adapt very fast, but that is the norm of the game today, right? So, how are you balancing it? How big is your team? Are you the one solo pruner, or you
No,
have a support system?
I would technically burn out or die. It would be impossible to do it solo. We manage it because we have a team. In totality, we have a team of about, I think, 25, 30 people. So the idea, of course, in brokerage is to have, you need a team eventually, because phone calls and it gets very time consuming. I think what mistakes a lot of channel partners do is they tend to, at least the regional ones, they the lack of trust कि ये lead घुमाएगा कि नहीं घुमाएगा. Let it be. Just go ahead, hire a team, and So I think that's very, very critical to get a team. And I think without the 20, 25, 30 odd people we have, it would have been impossible to, sort of be where we are today.
Fantastic, fantastic. Good to know. Because my interaction with few other realtors, right, who have not ventured like this, like I mean, you are relatively unique in your combination. But what I saw was that people always spoke about cash flows, right? Collections was their problems in real estate, right? And on the other side, they said, hey, information is key in real estate. I asked, what do you mean by information? They said, like what is available, not available is something is information, right? So what they do is they have a team very dedicated, right? What I observed, at least my interaction, is that they dedicate a couple of people to get real-time information of supply on one side, and on the other side there is a buyer team, right? This is how their structure was working. So how is it for you? Do you go like that, or is there any other way? I mean, how is the real estate firms, I mean, brokerage firms structure is building today,
So we
organization
are in the
structure?
primary market. We are into land. Land supply works very, very differently. We have a team of, I would say, just in land alone, an additional 15 to 20 associates who
Mm.
literally go, and we deal into agricultural land for holiday homes. Obviously, in the city, there is no land to trade. Um, so, for instance, if I give you an example of Alibag, somewhere where we are very, very active, there we have
Mhm.
a team, just our associate network of the boys there. We have about 20 people, 15 to 20 people who literally go in the village, hut by hut, and
Mhm.
come to know which land is on sale, which is not on sale. So it's still a very, I would say, human intensive. Chat GPT can't do that for me. Find which land is available or not. Right. In the end, it's also a lot about liaising ability. How you connect. The seller should like you enough to trust you with his,
Mhm.
land and paperwork and all of those things. That's
Yeah.
number one. Number two is we are into primary as well. Now, primary is relatively easy to source because, say, for example, say I live in Worli, for example. Now, if I want to find out the properties, different type of properties in Worli, I can just do one simple Google search, and
Okay.
literally all the builders in Worli who are operational will show up, right? And then you just go to them and you get empaneled as a channel partner. So finding supply in primary is relatively easier. I would say finding supply in rentals, in resale, and of course land, which is a resale technically, is significantly more obscure.
Okay. So, in coming to primary, say assuming you have put in a location, some realtor wants to start in one particular region, he goes to Google, he finds out the list of, I mean, even he could find a list from the Credai list as the top, and builder stations, or even the, so he finds it out. Okay, great. But how does he decide which to go choose? Not that every, I mean, there is a clear cut reluctance for every broker to. I mean, brokers think that not every broker thinks that every builder would blindly sign a contract with you. Uh, is that true, or like is there a qualification which builder sees, or what is it?
So now, of course, since the advent of RERA, a builder will want you to be RERA registered. Each channel partner or broker, as long as you're selling primary, has to have a RERA registration. So I think that's step number one. Now, at least Maharashtra has introduced examinations as well. So you have to complete the RERA training, then give a RERA exam, and then of course get your certificate. And then you're free to go to which project sites. And I would say like 99% of builders are very welcoming, because who wouldn't want a free distribution, right? Because brokers are only paid upon success. If I hire a sales manager today, even if he doesn't sell a single flat in the month, I have to still pay him his salary. For a broker, only once he sells, he gets the client to you. For a builder,
Absolutely.
customer acquisition cost on a deal that didn't go through zero.
Absolutely.
Only upon closure, only upon success, you have to. I mean, the brokerage slabs depending on builders to builders, or on average, it's about 2% on the agreement value.
Agreement. Yeah.
So I think they're
So,
pretty open builders.
RERA, what is the cost involved in Maharashtra? How much they spend, and what is the examination? Is there a time period within which an examination? Could you just explain if you know it?
Right. So currently in RERA, there are some registered vendors who are given the responsibility of imparting knowledge to aspiring brokers and existing brokers as well. The examination, the fees for the training is around 6,500 rupees approximately, right? Six
Okay.
or 6 to 7,000, and to get your certificate, you have to pay 10,000 rupees as an individual, right?
Okay.
And as a LLP or a private limited company, you'll have to pay 1 lakh rupees. Uh,
1 lakh.
yeah, but this license is valid for 5 years.
Okay. It is basically in Tamil Nadu. It is 25,000 for an individual and 50,000 for a company.
Right.
Uh,
Here, the gap is a lot, I think, between an individual and a private limited.
Okay. Coming to this, right? So I interacted with few people who are yet to get registered in RERA, right? What prevents them from doing? I mean, basically, their mindset was that, hey, if I put in X cost, then I need that as a return, right? So then I asked him, I mean, are you not doing business in real estate? Are you not getting money and things like that? They said consistency of cash flow in primary is not great. I mean, these are certain aspects which keeps on coming back to me in various forms, right? When we interact, is that true? Is builders' payments are not prompt, or how is that relationship should be built? If so, is there a way with which brokers need to work on to make sure that their cash flows from the builders for a success, is proper and things like that?
So this is one major problem for all brokers and real estate agents out there doing primary. The cash flows are bad. All right, and you know what? Often builders delay. I would say 8 out of 10 builders delay your brokerage. Of course, RERA doesn't have anything for real estate agents, which is surprising because at one end, RERA is regulating real estate agents, but on the
Yeah.
other end, they're not protecting real estate agents at all, which I find pretty strange.
Yeah.
Now, real estate agents, the only way they can secure their brokerage is ideally it should be mentioned in the model agreement, but it is not being followed in practicality. That's not being followed. So, I mean, in the end, just if you close a deal in January, the registration happens, or say the 10% uh, happens by, say, March or something. You'll raise the invoice by March. They say 45 days, but look, in reality it takes even 6 months. So which is something which is yeah, it is. I mean, you live with it, right? And I think so the starting for a channel partner is very difficult, um, because but once you start rolling, what happens is today, for example, if it's in the month of we are in the month of April, we are getting money from deals done last year. So the flow is
Yeah, yeah. It
what does it
catches
start?
up.
The 6 months, yeah, it
Mm.
catches up.
So normally, for a typical, so if we assume that there is a lead time to get this consistency of cash flow, let's assume, right? So somebody starts, selling on the second, third month of his operation, and then, consistently he goes on to sell. Uh, Maybe after some time he's going to have the consistency of collection also, right? So it's not going to be difficult, but my question here is, how much do you think a team of five under a brokerage, let's assume, right, a five-member team who is just doing primary, could probably sell in a month?
Right. So I think that depends on a lot of more than human resource ratio to revenue, human to revenue ratio. It depends a lot on your strategy, the kind of quality leads you're getting. We have seen lean teams where 5 people can sell 50 apartments as well. Whereas we've seen, I'm sure there are plenty of teams that are doing zero. I think what's more important is the quality of
Understood.
your leads that you get, also being very active in a micro location. So let me explain. For
Yeah,
instance, let's take Chennai's example, right? Say there's an area, Nungambakam, right?
yeah.
Now, if you have 5 agents working in Nungambakam, right, you're masters of that particular locality. What happens is if I generate a lead for project A in Nungambakam, say which is worth 2 crores, what happens is you have to find shadow projects there, right? So if a lead says, look, and the number one reason for a person to not be interested is the budget,
Mm,
right?
mm, mm.
You need to have at least six projects that are worth 1.5 crores, which is 25% cheaper
Oh,
than the 2 crore that you're marketing, to be
absolutely.
able to upcycle and recycle those leads.
Mm, mm,
A
mm, mm.
Nungammakam client will not go to Tambaram and purchase a flat.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So a lot of times I've seen channel partners fail because they'll have five people and they'll try to do everything. They'll go all across the city. They'll want to capture a metro city with five people, which is, I mean, not
That's
viable.
that's that's fantastic. So basically, you need to be a master of one location first, uh, and you need to start conquering locations.
Right.
If I may go that right. So that even your relationship with builders are very straightforward. You will be able to satisfy and show the builders that you are consistently could do sales for them, and thereby they
That's
build
correct.
relationship. Thereby the collection starts kicking in. That's very fantastic. So even this, how is this going to help in terms of even lead generation in today's world? I'm sure even people who have not understood Facebook uh, and WhatsApp and Google have started blindly, you know, giving money to a third-party digital agencies blindly just because an ad campaign could be run. I mean, that's the state I at least many places I'm seeing. Right? People say that as long as you're able to give me, X number of leads for this cost, I'm good. Give it. So is that a good way, or is there better way? Is understanding Google, Facebook helps you, or is that a progress which we are all moving towards also?
So I think so. We have obviously an in-house team that does it. I wouldn't recommend you outsourcing this to somebody. Initially, you can, but I think a person's first investment. So it's very important to get a lean team initially. Rather than hiring five people catering 10 clients each, you get two people catering 25 clients each. I think that's in order to save your outgoings, right?
Mm,
You should
absolutely,
spend
absolutely.
more on marketing, because how else will you get quality leads instead? And try to hire an in-house digital marketer if you can.
Mm,
Because what happens is, once the moment you outsource it, you will lose quality control. You will also, now I've seen a lot of agencies don't give you access to the panel,
yeah.
so
Okay.
you don't really know the spends. They'll say, okay, in 1 lakh rupees we'll give you so many leads at 500 rupees per lead,
Mm,
and we'll charge you 15% of the ad spend, which is 1 lakh. But how do
mm,
you know that the lead was not generated in 300 rupees? Sometimes they'll take the 15% from you, and they'll take an additional arbitrage on the cost per lead as well, which
mm.
in my opinion is unfair trade practice, but it is rampant. A lot of digital companies do it. So I feel if you can get us, spend on a nice digital marketer in house, make him understand the dynamics of real estate, and then target. I mean,
Okay.
it's not rocket science. So
Okay. Got it. Super. So people, I mean, in conclusion, we can say that people need to understand at least how it works. At least they have to see their own account logins, and then spend. That's what you're saying,
right,
right? So
right.
that's one. Two, of course, for last 20 years, 20 plus years, we have the so-called classifieds in India, right? How much is that value adding for your lead generation? Do you really spend on classifieds as a broker?
By classifieds, you mean databases?
99 acres, Magic Bricks,
Understood.
housing.
The portals,
Yeah,
online portals,
the,
yes,
yeah,
they do
classified.
work. uh,
Okay.
Portals do work for sure. We obviously have portals, but what we believe is, today it's very hard for me to judge where will I get a client from.
Mm,
So we just do everything. So we do Facebook, we do Instagram, we do Google Ads, we do SMS blast, we do WhatsApp blast, we do email newsletters, we also do housing.com, and we've done 99 acres and Magic Bricks also in the past. We also do offline events. I mean, that's where we met. So I think it's important to do everything. There is no fixed medicine, and I wish I knew that. If I knew the right answer, I think, or if any realtor knew the right answer, every realtor would probably be a multi-billionaire. But it's very hard to gauge where you get the client from. So just do everything, and then
Okay.
ascertain where you are getting clients from.
Is there a marketing budget or a percentage which you maintain? Because this, if everything is there, then it's going to add up and probably not. We need to also calculate the CAC, right? So,
Right.
do you have something in mind and you work like that?
At least I think companies, at least channel partners, depending on the cash flows. Now, the bigger problem in brokerage is the cash flows, right? So, for instance, your trade receivables, say, for example, you have trade receivables of, you've done a revenue, say, of 1 crore, as an example, in the first quarter.
Okay.
Now, assuming you've done 1 crore from Jan to March, ideally would mean the money in the bank is zero, because that 1 crore
Yeah,
will come after 9 months.
absolutely.
Now, today, ideally, you should be spending at least 20 lakhs, 20% of that on marketing. But structuring that, executing that is very hard because you don't know when that 1 crore will come in tranches.
Correct. Correct.
Now, assuming your rolling has started, sometimes like there have been times where I've got brokerage after even 2 years, 1.5 years,
Mm.
right? So I
Yeah.
think what's more important is to do ads for certain project and campaigns, right? Because
Mm.
what happens is the more you sell, right? For example, if I sell the ladders, if I sell 10 units with a builder, with a certain builder, or 5 or 10, that 2% brokerage becomes 3.5%.
Mm.
So it's important to focus on a certain launch, right? And go all guns blazing, be a master of a launch rather than doing 10 different launches and doing one deal each. So do 10 deals
Mm.
in one launch and then demand a higher brokerage from that builder.
Mm. 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 Mm.
So that's a way to
So,
increase revenue, keeping the same expenditure.
okay. Is there a seasonality which
And
you see in Mayank by any chance? Just curious.
seasonality.
Seasonality
Sorry, I
in
couldn't hear
buying.
you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I do.
Seasonality. Yes.
I do. So, of course, there are certain festive times where buyers flock in. Diwali, Gudi Padwa is a big one. We just had Gudi Padwa on 9th. Gudi
Okay.
Padwa, Akshay Tritiya. These are very important days, right? So, you should plan your launches on such days. Gudi Padwa, Akshay Tritiya, Diwali, the month of Diwali is very auspicious for home buyers. So, yeah, I think a festive season, you should increase your ad spends a month before the festive season.
A month before. Okay.
Yeah,
So you need
a
to
month.
have leads in place to sell during that time.
Yes, a month before. Because the turnaround time of a real estate transaction is minimum 1 month, right? Assuming that at least a month, a turnaround time from lead to calling to site visit to closure, take at least 30 days. So I think
So just this lead nurturing, do you assist site visit for every builders? I mean, do you take customers for site visit or you funnel it, schedule the site visit, you pass on the leads? I mean, how does that happen in
so we
private?
have we have a team, right? So our team personnel, our relationship managers are always there for site visits because we want to have
Okay.
control on that client. It's very important because if a client doesn't like a certain project, we can rotate them into a shadow project, and that's how you increase your revenue from those leads.
Do you,
I'll
I
give
mean,
you an example.
for your
I'll give
sales
you an
team, do you
example.
have site visit targets or something like per weekend? We
Yes,
guys need to do something
yeah,
like
we do.
this. You do
We
it? I
do.
mean,
Per
how do
Yeah, we
you keep
have
your
site
sales?
visit targets. I tell my sales team in every week per person, I want 4 to 5 site visits, at least four
Hmm.
site visits per week. So if you have
Per
got
week.
10 people who are doing sales, you are looking at 40 site visits
Yeah.
that way.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I mean, very, very glad and good to know that. So, if you're actually doing some, already you are equaling a small builder sorts of a sale, right? You are becoming a sale team, irrespective of whichever brand it is. But basically, your turnover or your gross mark, the value what you sell is basically going to be as good as a builder, right? So which means it's a very on a if about 1-2 years time, if somebody spends time, they should definitely be able to settle and become a very good
Yeah,
broker.
additionally,
Yeah.
what a lot of people can do is they can take up mandates, right? So you choose the right builder. That's very critical. Sometimes channel partners make that mistake. I've made that mistake as well. Not being, just how an actor chooses a movie, what script to take, what script not to take. I think a channel partner should take the right project at the right time for the launch. There are certain projects I thought will not do well. I didn't. I regret not, because I know I could have sold 20 units. And there's
Okay.
certain that I took were, I was told not to take them, but so we learn with time. So I think a broker should have a knack to identify the right launch.
Okay. So how good is networking? This is one last question: is that networking in brokerage, or at least when as soon as we speak about, I mean, you did highlight about associates, what you have for your land vertical, right? But normally, how much networking in today's world? How is it happening? Because old days it's purely about associations, meeting for a evening, and joining for a festive or something like that. How is it happening today? I mean, or is there a change in the way networking happens in today's world?
Yeah, so I think, like I said, back in the day, you had to go for physical events to network, and I think those are still good. However, a lot of my networking happens on Instagram as well. So times are
Mhm.
changing. It's never been easier to network because of social media, and I think people from all walks of life should take advantage of that. Um, for example, I'll just say, for example, we have 7,20,000 followers right now. I
Mm.
have an option to network with all of them just with a click of a phone, like, just open my phone and just DM, right?
Mm.
Now
Mm.
imagine organizing an event for 7 lakh people.
Mm.
You can't
Yeah,
imagine the cost of that.
not at all possible. Yeah.
It's impossible. 7 lakh people be probably, I don't know, hundreds of crores. It's it's like a full election rally.
Yeah.
7 lakh people. It's impossible.
And they are also basically are one second.
Sure.
Even they are spread across the world, right? They are just
Right.
not from one place. So
It's
for
impossible
them,
to, yeah,
yeah. So
correct.
that's
So I think,
that's that.
and now this it's happening free of cost. So I think networking should be a financially viable, because everybody doesn't have the funds or the privilege to take a flight to go to Goa for an event and network, right? That's number one. Also, I think there's a very common and cliched saying, but it's true: your network will be your net worth in real estate, right?
Yeah.
So I think networking is everything in real estate. You have to be likable, people should trust you, and you have to keep networking, because there's so many stories where I've seen two agents meet. Forget agent
Mm-hmm.
meeting a prospective client, but like, say an agent meets an agent, and they both end up doing a very large transaction, because one person has a seller, one person has a buyer. So you never know what's in store.
Absolutely.
The more you network, the more odds you have.
Absolutely. So coming to the last, I mean, at least we've got some idea today. One thing what I wanted to ask is, again, coming back to your personal branding, you said it happened by chance, but at least in the matured market, this is the norm, right? People tend to put their face on their real estate, I mean, their visiting card, their websites. Wherever they go, you would see a realtor face, right? And they tend to brand themselves. That's where it is. So, is that a trend? I mean, is just by doing that, is there a difference with which the market sees you because of you putting the face out there? His builders trust on you. Is there a difference? Because I do not know. I'm just asking. Curious.
So it depends. there are two ways you can put your face out there. A, you can forcibly put your face everywhere, to which it might not make a difference. But if you're adding value, right? If you're adding value and people see you as, it's all depends on people's perception, right? Of you, of how the brand has been created, right? I think just being popular is not enough today. You have to have the ethics behind being popular. For I'll
Mm,
give you an example. Let's look at Ratan Tata's example. He's popular, of course, but I can tell you another business. I wouldn't want to name other businessmen who have the same kind of popularity behind Ratan Tata, but yet people trust in Ratan Tata more.
mm,
It's also because of the value and the type of content you're putting out there and how you deal with business. So I think with that personal brand, it's just more than your personal photo. The people should see what you stand for in your personal brand. I think that is the key differentiator between popularity and popularity with actual success.
okay. With this build, are you getting more businesses also because you're able to
For sure.
convey what you stand for, what you are, right? And all those things is very explicitly over a period of time. People are able to judge you also very clearly, right? So because of that, your business should go up, right?
Oh yeah, of course, definitely. Our customer acquisition cost has drastically come down, um, and yeah, we're getting good closures from Instagram and in just general, for sure. It's played a pivotal role, I would say.
Super. One last question. Looking back, what would today's Mayank advise the Mayank who started on day zero of real estate?
Good one. Be patient,
Okay,
I guess.
fantastic. Okay, I didn't expect it to be a one word, but anyway, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
I
great.
think what
Uh,
happens is with, if I can elaborate on that point, when a
yeah.
lot of entrepreneurs start at zero, you see a lot of successful people and you just get drawn to the success and you want it very quickly without realizing the what's below the iceberg,
Mm,
right?
mm,
So,
mm.
you know what, you might think that, oh, this person got success overnight. It's actually because of a lot of unsuccessful nights or days he's had, right? So I think, again, a very cliched quote, but it's true. I mean, that's how quotes become
Very
cliche.
true. Yeah.
There's no substitute to hard work, right? So if you keep working and just be patient, will happen. And another thing is, I would say, for younger channel partners or any entrepreneur, I would say it's very critical to identify the right trend at the right time, right? If you're too early,
Mhm.
you'll get busted. If you're too late, you'll get busted. That timing has to be perfect.
Mm.
Identify, try to think out of the box and see how you can actually disrupt.
Make relevant for today.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Brilliant. Brilliant. No, very, very thought provoking. I mean, I do not know whether I missed a few questions what I wanted to ask, but genuinely, I was very much, inspired the way with which your mind works. I'm very happy, and you're going to go very long places. I mean, probably real estate with mine could be a big, large brand in years to come, and there'll be a lot more people who would work under that brand. That's my
I hope
wish,
so.
and I
Hope so.
wish
Thank
that.
you for the kind words.
No problem. Yeah, any few things which you would like to say about our interaction, especially.
I think it's, you have this knack of asking the right questions, which means you totally, get into the flow of conversations, right? Because sometimes, we do podcasts where people want to ask you the next question, right? But, you obviously being in the real estate yourself, you're solving a big problem in real estate, inventory management problem as well, right? Through tech. So you, anyways, understand all the problems, of real estate. So it's always a pleasure talking about real estate with another real estate professional. So I think it
Pleasure.
was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks for those words, Mike. Thanks for the time. Thank you. We will have a very one other conversation very soon, I would say.
Absolutely. Looking forward, Arun. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.